Hello and a very warm welcome back to Fox's Weight Watcher Kitchen. I'm Johnny Fox. Now, firstly, apologies for those of you that have been waiting for another recipe. As you can see, a little bit of a minor refit in the kitchen, took a bit longer than anticipated. So today's recipe, what are we going to do for you guys today? Banana bread. I know it's something a bit different, not like your standard loaf, but again, we're not going to use a loaf as well. If you're trying to lose weight, remember back in time I did my lentil flatbread. We're going to follow similar to the same recipe as what we did with that, but a little bit of a twist like usual. As you can see, I've got my lentils and water already in the blender ready. For those of you that didn't watch the original recipe, it's 1 cup of lentils, 2 cups of water, and all we do is leave it to soak overnight. As you can see, I've left that soaking overnight, but what we're going to do today is tip a little bit of this fluid away because we're going to add some bananas, and we can just mix this up and see how easy this is going to be. So what you know when you get your bananas and they end up being really ripe, you end up throwing them away. Don't need to do that if you want to make your banana breads. So we just quickly peel down a couple of these. As you can see, look lovely and ripe on the inside. Throw the nasty bits of string away and have a very quick break up on the bananas. Same with the second one. Slice through the top and a very quick peel. I don't know about you guys, but I just love banana bread. And there's so many adaptations on how you can do this as well. With this one though, I'm going to show you a nice easy one. You can see main ingredients in there: 1 cup lentil, 2 cups water, soaked overnight, drained a bit of the water off. We might add some of that back in a second. And all we're going to do is put it into the blender and blend this up. And with the power and technology of editing, we won't let you listen to too much of the noise. So back in a sec. Right, now that's partially blended. The other thing we're going to add in this one as well, we're using 2 bananas, and if they're not overly ripe, like these ones, they're sort of ripe but not what I call really super sweet ripe. So what I tend to do as well, instead of having sugar to sweeten it, on this one I'm using the white sugar extract, which is xylitol. And so you know how much I'm doing: 1 banana, 1 spoonful. And then we just throw the sugar in. And then we make sure that once all this is away from the sides, because we don't want any large lentil pieces, and all we're going to do is continually blend this up until it comes together in a nice smooth pancake sort of consistency. So back on with the lid, back on with the blender, and we'll carry on blitzing this again. And that is all the mixing done. Let's take the lid off and have a look at this liquid. Usually find out from the blade if it's going to be loose enough or not. That looks to be absolutely perfect. Now guys, sometimes when you're doing banana breads, I don't know about you, if you've ever baked it before as well, you're usually using your flour. We've gotten rid of that, and not to mention, for those of you that are gluten intolerant as well, this is a perfect recipe for your banana bread, but it's a lentil flatbread at the same time. Other ingredients that people tend to put in their banana breads, I've seen people put in cinnamon, nutmegs, you know, the mixed spices as well. If you want to add those bits and pieces in as well, that's your choice. Personally, I'm not a lover of it. If I want banana bread, I want it to taste like bananas. I don't want it to taste like all of the other ingredients. So how much are we going to use? Same as what we did with the lentil flatbread. All we do is put in 1 ladleful. You can see it's almost like a lovely pancake consistency. So just wait for the pan to warm slightly. I'm going to spray this with I use this Fry Light olive spray. Not quite warm enough just yet. I'm going to wait for that to come up. And you can see guys as well, gas flame, I'm using the small flame on this one because I don't want this to get overly hot. I just want it to get to just the right consistency. So, and what I always do as well, put the oil in, give it a wipe around first. Now I can feel that's getting a little bit warm. I want it to hiss, you know, when you put these in, because I always find the first one never seems to come out the same as all of the other ones. It's purely because the pan hasn't been as hot, it's not been cooking for as long. And the other thing when you're doing these as well, patience, they say, is a virtue. Unlike pancakes, you can see them, just give them a nice little shake around and flick, and they're no time at all. Because this is water and banana, it's going to take a little bit longer. So again, now you can see that's working properly. Again, time-wise on these, if you remember on the lentil flatbread, all we allowed it to cook for was 2 to 2.5 minutes per side. So we take 1 ladleful of the juice, as you can see, almost like your pancake consistency. Just give it a little wiggle around in the pan, and then leave it on the stove. I'm not a lover of muck on the side of the pan, so we will wipe that off as well. So all we're going to do is just leave this on the stove. You can see from there already, nice and easy to just leave that. And I always get, I don't know about you, but I put my stopwatch on while I'm waiting for this to cook up. Flame wise, that's got the pan up nice and hot. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit so it's on a sort of semi-medium to high small flame. And if you're using an electric stove, it's usually a medium setting. So we'll be back in just a second. I'll show you how we flip these over. Back in a sec. Okay, so now it's had exactly 2 minutes on one side. I'm just going to start playing with this on the edges just to see if this is going to come away. And you always find as well, when you use this small one, see there's a gap in the middle of the flame. Always move it around, because although it's cooking underneath and the whole pan at the bottom gets hot, you find that sometimes just the middle section on its own doesn't seem to cook to the same consistency. A little tip there, keep it moving around on the flame, which I've done off camera. And I'm just going to give this a little shake around. It's still a little bit caught. So where's that caught? And again guys, it's with these, it's all about patience. They're not your typical pancake. There's no egg, there's no flour, nothing's there to bind it together. Now that is just starting to move. We are exactly 2 minutes and 50 seconds in. You can see the size of the flame if you've got one of these small gas cookers at home. And all we're going to do then, now I've got that lovely, do you remember on the last video I did this and I flicked one over and it landed on its side because it caught the bottom of the pan? You have to listen to what I call this lovely scratchy sensation, then you can flick them over. Once they're flicked over, you can then get your other spatula and just give this a little press into the bottom to retain its shape. And you can see this lovely colour on here, but there's lovely golden colour brown. And just the smell of these, just the bananas and the lentils together with the sugar, or that xylitol sugar substitute, it's a lovely, lovely fragrance. When these are done as well, I tend to freeze. You know, I've told you before with the lentil flatbreads, and I make mine as pancakes for the morning as well. I tend to make a little stack of these, keep them in the freezer, because if you're one of those guys that you want to keep eating these banana breads are really nice, then you can keep them in the freezer, pop them in the microwave the next day, 1 minute or 1 minute 15, depending on what your microwave power is like. Unlike bread, it doesn't go crusty and hard around the outside, so these are really good because you can actually freeze them. So I'm just going to test this one on the other side now and see how this is going to look. It's almost coming away already, and that is roughly about a minute on the opposite side. You can also test it with this, see if it'll move around freely with the scoop on top. It's just catching there just a little bit on one side, so a few more moments. And again, see the way we're just moving the pan around just to make sure it's going to come away nice and easy. That is almost there. That looks like that's running freely, and that looks like it's going to flick. Let's have a look. That is a lovely, perfect banana lentil flatbread. Guys, what do you think of the colour of this? I always find as well with these, don't leave them too hot. If you're going to try to eat them, unlike the pancakes, I love mine straight off the stove, and I can eat them with these because it is a banana lentil flatbread, same as if you're having a banana loaf. With normal breads, you can cut it and it's really hot if you want these, but I tend to find they're a little bit too moist in the middle. I always leave mine to cool down, and then like any kind of bread, you can put your toppings over the top if you want to put your butters and your bits and pieces. Sometimes I just have these with little lentil bits on, with banana bits on the side as well, and make them turn in more like a lentil bread pancake with a few bits of banana as well, sometimes even a little bit of yogurt. I'm going to carry on and cook the rest of these up, and we'll be back and show you the stack of these once they're done, so back in a minute. Okay, so we're almost there. As you can see, we've got a stack of 4 of these banana lentil flatbreads already. The last one's on the stove. I'm cheating with the last one, it's a personal preference. A few sultanas, as you can see, sprinkled a few on the top. It's been cooking on this side now for almost 1 minute 20 seconds. Just going to leave it a little bit longer to give the final stir. And like I say, guys, with these recipes, you can do whatever you like with it. The basic ingredients, when we're talking about this mixture, 1 part lentil, 2 parts water, leave it to soak overnight. If you haven't seen it before, look at that one there, the 5 lentil recipes. I'm using the same ingredients. This one I'm doing a banana bread. I've done garlic bread, I've done naan bread, I've had my pancakes with the skinny food sauce on them as well. I've made pizza base, I've made crisps, all with exactly the same ingredients. 1 part lentil, 2 parts of water, leave it to soak overnight and add other bits and pieces. So this one is now up to my 2 minutes. Time to give this one a test and see if this one's going to flick. And as you can see with this one, with my banana lentil flatbread, for me, it's a personal preference. If you're trying to lose weight, don't add too many of the sultanas and currants and bits and pieces in, because the weight is going to be too heavy. But if you're just after trying to find a banana lentil flatbread that's, you know, or a banana loaf that's gluten tolerant, then all you've got to do is mix up a mixture like this and give them a flick over. You can see that gorgeous golden brown when they're finished. I always keep the flame, as you can see, the flames on this small heat, and I always push. Another little trick as well, if you want to cook the other side slightly quicker and a lot easier, keep your spatula ready and just keep pressing it down. It will raise up in a few small areas, but I find with this side, because it doesn't take as long, it's not as wet, just keep pressing it down in areas, move it around on the stove. If you want to go on a bigger flame, at your own risk. I've tried it on the larger flames as well, but it does tend to burn them off. You can see the difference in the colour between the underside and the overside. But this is the way that I like to do mine, nice and slow. And like I say guys, patience with these is a virtue. You're not making your standard pancakes. You can't see it's drying out really quick and flick them over. It's a lentil flatbread with a few bananas in. We're calling this a banana lentil flatbread. And as you can see, that is almost moving now. I'm just testing it and pushing it slightly to see if it's going to move away from the edges. And we are almost there with the final one. So let's give this a test. Almost coming away all the way round. It might even start wiggling around now. Here we go. Last one on the stove. It's starting to get, you remember I keep saying when you're doing these, it's still catching the pan, you can feel it. I don't know whether it's an experience thing or it's just something you get used to. It's starting to give a little bit of a scratchy sound, but not enough, so it will catch the bottom if I don't stay there for a few seconds longer. Now it's starting to get, you know when you put sandpaper on, wouldn't you get that kind of shh, that sort of scratchy sound? That is what you're after if you're going to try flicking them over in the pan. That is just about ready. And as you can see from that one now, let's turn the gas right the way off. That one for the final one is absolutely beautiful. Guys, this is your recipe with just 1 cup lentils, 2 cups water. I've added a few sultanas, very naughty I know, a few sultanas for myself at the end, but 2 bananas. Again guys, if you want to add in more sugar or xylitol, brown sugar, whatever sugar, if you're not losing the weight, I'm only using the xylitol because I'm still trying to get more weight off. I know people say that I look healthy, but I know I've still got about another ½ a stone I want to get off as well. If you're gluten intolerant as well, then you can get rid of that by having these. Basically what we've got is a loaf of banana bread here, but it's already been pre-sliced because we're making them all individually. Guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the recipe. Again, I've enjoyed making it for you again. I'm going to go away and eat some of these now. Put some in my lunchbox for tomorrow because I like them. Like I say, you can put your bananas with it. You can put your marges and spread them up and put other toppings on. It is a banana bread. It's that simple, but it's made with lentils instead of flour. If you like what you've seen, you know where that subscribe button is if you want to follow the channel. If you want to be notified when the other ones come up as well, new recipes, click on that bell button. You will get notified every time one comes up. Till we do it again, hopefully you've enjoyed yourself. I've enjoyed making it for you, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Take care. Bye.